Hey there, podcast listeners. Sean here. For those of you that didn't notice, we haven't released our new season yet. But never fear, we have 3 out of 5 episodes already recorded. We're going to record the 4th soon, so that will be coming sooner rather than later. However, in the meantime, I have a bonus episode for you, as you may have noticed. On the last Swingin' Wheel of the 70s selected a Mrs. Columbo episode for us. So please enjoy this one-off bonus episode about Mrs. Columbo's A Riddle for Puppets.
You forgot Clown. I put him in your car. I saw your license plate.
I didn't forget him, Mrs. Columbo.
Excuse me?
He was Victor's. Whatever life he had came from Victor. Now his life is finished. He's just wood and paint and wire. Can you understand that?
No, I don't think so.
Greetings, Columbo fans, and welcome to a brand new season of the Columbo Confab podcast. This is Sean.
And what better way to start the new season of an episode that is not Columbo? Well, not technically Columbo. Oh, this is Steve, by the way.
For those of you that are new. Yeah, so basically when Steve went to spin the swinging wheel of the 70s, it was rigged, it broke. Mm-hmm. And it shows Mrs. Columbo episode for us, A Riddle for Puppets. Now, for those of you that have not seen it or cannot see it, we will go into it. What? Yeah, lucky you. We'll explain in minute detail what happens in the story, which should take about 10 minutes, but we'll talk about it. But if you've got the Columbo DVDs, this story, plus 2 other Mrs. Columbo episodes, are bonuses on some of the DVDs. It's interesting, though, that I know of the 3, there's one that's bad, there's one that's good, and there's one that's just in the middle. We'll find out which one this is maybe eventually. But Steve, do you mind? Now, you sounded really upset when this happened and it pulled up this episode.
Well, because I thought this podcast was about reviewing Columbo. And technically, I guess it's a spin-off. It is a spin-off, yes. It is a spin-off of Columbo. It takes its liberties, which I didn't like. But I was not expecting to review a Mrs. Columbo, to be quite honest. That took me... You set me up. I honestly thought we were going to review another... 1970s episode, which I was looking very forward to. Those are my favorite. Oh yes, okay. It is technically, but I'm talking about the proper show, Columbo.
Well, I put those in there. I put them in the database with all the other 70s Columbo episodes as
take the other 2 out. Just take them out. Just take them out.
do you wait? No. Do you really want me to take them out?
Oh no, I guess leave them in. It's.
It'll prolong the life of our podcast by 3 episodes.
2 episodes, great.
However, to make up for this, I suppose you could swing the swinging wheel of the 70s.
Oh yes, don't you take that away from me.
Okay.
The only pleasure I get out of life now, so just don't do that.
That way, But if it gets on a Mrs. Columbo again, then we'll call a mulligan, and you can spin it again. So we will be doing a 70s episode after this. In fact, I'll probably just consider this a bonus episode, and maybe the folks at home can get 6 episodes this season instead of 5.
That's up to you.
All right.
Yes. So a mix between Columbo and the Twilight Zone.
Yes.
The one we're reviewing today.
Okay, look, I just wanna read the description on the DVD menu of they have a little, like, in case you're randomly going through the episodes and you can't decide which one to watch, you can read the description. It's what I call a TV guide description. This is the description of it. Kate Columbo investigates the death of an elderly woodcarver. Okay, let's pause it there.
Wrong already.
Elderly woodcarver. We learn later on that he's 53. But when all the clues point to a ventriloquist's dummy as the perpetrator of the crime, Kate must carve out the truth from a list of unusual suspects and unbelievable alibis.
One suspect. I mean, if you don't consider the dummies as suspects, one suspect.
Yeah, there is nobody else other than the policeman.
Except Jenny, maybe.
Yeah,
the daughter,
Jenny.
who apparently... Oh, go on. Never mind. We'll discuss her in a moment.
So it opens with the wonderful Mrs. Columbo theme music and opening credits.
Yes, let's establish this is the same Mrs. Columbo from the Peter Falk series. So, one, let's get this out of the way. Kate McGrew is, 30 years his Peter Fox Jr., wouldn't you say?
I think so, yes. That sounds about right.
Okay, so Columbo would have married her when she graduated kindergarten. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. But yeah, so we see her cleaning house. She's a very progressive individual. She's cleaning house. She does stage plays. I mean, this is the intro. It's nice that we have an official theme, by the way. I hope you use that for tonight's episode. But she does stage plays. She cooks. She solves murders. She's a writer. She does other. I mean, she's like all over the place. She's so multi-talented.
Yes.
But yeah, one of the things we see, she's cleaning up after somebody who smokes a cigar. Wonder who that could be.
Yeah, I know. What do you know?
We see her taking care of a dog, I guess. Yeah, she does refer to him as dog in this episode. So, picking up his dog poo. We see her... what else do we see her doing? Oh, we do see a car that may or may not be Columbo's. Probably a Peugeot convertible, beat up. So we're establishing in the very intro that this is the same Mrs. Columbo.
Yeah. So
I think everybody's going to understand why I'm very hostile to this already.
So because we all know, Mrs. Columbo doesn't exist, right, Steve? So we open with after that opening, we have the post-credit sequence, not post-credit sequence, but the opening sequence.
Yes,
which involves the cast members, of course, popping up, and an array of the camera pans across an array of creepy puppets.
Yeah, it's nightmare fueled by a fevered dream of Jim Henson. I mean, it's
yeah, and it stops on quite possibly the creepiest puppet of them all.
Oh, clown?
Clown. It's a clown puppet, and it's very unpleasant to look at it.
Yes, it is.
To see the puppet is to hate the puppet, I think. And it looks not unlike Pennywise the clown from the movie It.
Yes. Yeah. Many children from my generation fear clowns, and episodes like this are the reason. Me specifically, my fear of clowns, I know where it originated from was the movie Poltergeist with that clown doll that got that kid under the bed. I don't know if you remember that.
Of course, yes.
So this is straight from that. I mean, that is the same imagery. Did I ever tell you? We may have discussed this on another podcast, but my parents, I thought it was really neat ventriloquism. Like, I thought that was cool. This was like when I was maybe like 6 or 7, and my parents bought me a Bozo the Clown dummy. Now, this is when Bozo was really popular. He had a TV show, a children's TV show in Chicago. Mm-hmm. I went to it.
You
went to one of those? Wow.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
Okay. So somebody made a official licensed dummy Bozo, and I got that as a Christmas present. God knows how much that thing cost. I mean, it must have been quite expensive, I imagine. It freaked me out. I could not sleep with that thing in my room. I just knew it was, it would watch me when I came into a room. I knew it was moving about in the middle of the night when I fell asleep. It was just the creepiest thing. I had to give it back to them, to my parents, so they would keep it in their bedroom. I could not have it in my room. It looked just like, very similar to the clown in Poltergeist, and also very similar to Clown in this episode. Yeah.
Really?
So a little backstory for me.
Not a big fan of those Annabelle movies, are you?
Never saw it. I never saw the Annabelle movies.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about, though. The creepy
do.
doll.
Yeah. Well, why would I say that?
And if kids are not afraid of clowns or puppets, because I personally think that all the puppets in this are creepy, including Clown, and then there's also Archie, who we'll talk about in a moment. If kids aren't afraid, say you're a kid and you're in the hospital, and there's going to be a ventriloquist there with his puppet. If they weren't afraid of puppets then, they will be after this little show.
Yes. Because Archie, the dummy of Noel. Did we discuss the main not villain but the murderer, Noel Abbott? I think his name is.
Yeah, Noel Abbott, a ventriloquist.
So he's a famous ventriloquist. Since who's the one that's with the monocle?
Bergen, like Edgar Bergen, I think.
There was McCarthy.
Charlie McCarthy. Yeah,
Charlie McCarthy. Yeah. So since then, this is the next major performer in that field, whatever that is. He went to Europe. He went to Europe. He toured Europe with Archie. Big hit, big success. He comes back to America. He does these random, things for the local hospital for children. Yeah.
So
he's done Carson. He's done. I'm sorry. Go on.
So the actor who plays Noel Abbott, I had to look him up. He kind of looks like, I don't know, Luke Skywalker.
That's funny.
Fucked the kid from 8 is Enough, and they produced this guy. So his name is Jay Johnson. He was born in Lubbock and grew up in Richardson, Texas. Okay?
Get out! Okay,
yeah,
that's where I went to school. Okay,
yeah, and so he is actually a real ventriloquist. He was before this. He was on a show called Soap. Have you ever seen Soap?
Yes. Oh, yes.
And he was one of Richard Mulligan's sons who had a puppet that would speak for him when he didn't feel like talking. You know what?
No, I did not. I remember the show. Richard Mulligan. I guess that was that was the father, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And so Jay Johnson was actually pretty famous as a ventriloquist, and he had his show, his own show at one point, not on TV but on Broadway. That was very popular. So I guess he's doing all of the actual puppet voices in this. So
interesting. Yeah, because it does. Okay. You know another interesting ventriloquist fact about the city I grew up in? So I didn't know he came from Richardson, but did you know the guy who I don't know his name, who does the puppets with like Peanut and that very felt like Muppets?
No, I don't. I don't know.
His name is Jeff Dunham.
Okay, yes, that's right.
He's also from Richardson. He went to the same high school I went to.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder. That's very interesting.
There must be something in this city that I'm not familiar. Maybe there's like a teacher or somebody named Victor. I don't know. It could be.
I think you have a secret puppet guild in Richardson.
Right. Maybe that is weird.
Yeah.
Because those are probably two of the most famous ones I would say in the last 20 years. Maybe. I don't know.
Unless you count fictional characters, then it would be one of those guys from Supernatural, at least from Richardson. Okay, so back to the puppetry.
Yes. So Archie has a mind of its own. He
says, what does he say in front of the children? I don't like you anymore.
No, he goes, no. So they're doing a joke routine. Abbott Costello kind of back and forth. Archie is refusing to perform, kind of. He's like saying things. He's not going along with the joke. And so you see him like turn his eyes start to peer out of the corner, and he starts slowly turning his head, which is creepy enough, right? Visually, if you can picture that, creepy as hell.
Yeah.
And he looks at Noel and he says, "I hate you." I was like, "Oh, good God, that's." I would be throwing him into the fireplace immediately.
Now, what did you think when that happened? Were you like, what the holy fuck is going on?
What is going on here?
Yeah, what is this show going to be about? My God.
I really thought, did someone from the Twilight Zone write this? I don't know if you know that. I didn't look it up, but yeah.
I didn't look it up because that's research and work, and we don't have time for that. So we cut to Mrs. Columbo happens to be at the hospital too. She sees the gentleman performing.
Yes.
And she's there because she's there to visit with her husband's aunt.
Right. We finally get to see all of the relatives in Columbo. I wonder if that's the excuse they use. We can't have Peter Falk on this. Why? I don't know. Because Peter Falk says, like, I'm not going on to that bastardization of my property. I don't know. But now we have his aunt, Aunt Lucy. She's a very northeastern kind of personality, I would say.
Northeastern personality. Yeah,
that's a nice way to put it. I don't know how else to say that. She said, "Don't mind me. I'll keep all my pain inside. I bottle my pain up. Don't mind me."
Perfect. Are you sure my nephew couldn't come and see me? I think he didn't want to see me. Her husband, who she does not call by his first name.
She say, "Why couldn't Frank come see me?" But
yeah. But Columbo is in San Diego, so that's why he couldn't come and see her.
Is there an episode where he's in San Diego? There's got to be. Is there a case in San Diego that we could correlate this to?
You know what? I think that it's pretty much L.A. all the time. I mean, we did that episode where he went to San Francisco to meet with the psychiatrist and eat snails.
Yeah. Right.
So let's meet Victor. Victor is this old man.
Can we not talk more about Aunt Lucy? I mean, we finally get to meet one of the aunts. What are your thoughts? So you didn't like my descriptor of her. What are your thoughts of her?
No, I agree.
Does she remind you of anybody?
Are we thinking of somebody? I don't know. She just seemed like a stereotypical, like, complaining aunt. Mm-hmm. What? She was supposed to remind me of somebody?
Well, maybe she reminded you of a family member or somebody. She reminded me of quite a few family members.
Okay.
I like that she went in for an ingrown toenail, and she's in a full leg cast.
I didn't catch that. I didn't.
Like, what did they find? I mean, like, okay, Lucy Columbo, we're just it's gonna be a quick day surgery thing. We're gonna take care of this ingrown nail, and they're like, holy crap, your X-rays came in, and we're gonna have to like amputate your leg. It's like, what is going on? It's just. But I liked how she enjoyed that box of chocolates. If I ever am sick and in the hospital, Sean, will you please visit me and bring me a box of chocolates? Because I just want to sit there and I want to eat it in front of you and just complain about everything.
Okay. All right. Sure. No problem. We'll set that up.
I like the ones with nougat in it, though. So, if you can get one of those assorted, like Russell Stouffer boxes, that would be nice.
Okay.
In a heart-shaped box, of course.
Okay. Definitely in a heart-shaped box.
Maybe two layers, and then it has to have on the inside the what each chocolate is. Has like a little diagram of what you're getting. I gotta have that.
So you're gonna eat all of them.
I don't want to eat one I don't like. I hate that.
Okay, and then so you leave all those for me, like the dark chocolate ones with the crap inside of them.
That are half bitten.
Something tells me that if you were in the hospital, Steve, you would not be allowed to eat chocolate.
Probably not. Okay, a bottle of scotch. Okay, fine.
Okay, yeah, that's better. That's better. So let's talk about Victor because. So Victor is the old man, 53 years old.
Okay.
Who works in a basement and makes all these puppets. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Nothing wrong. No. Nothing wrong. No, nothing at all.
Mm-mm.
So Noel goes to visit him, and we find out that Victor is a former mentor of Noel.
Very suspicious too, by the way.
Yeah, and
I would like to go into that further if you
you
want.
didn't miss. Okay, good. Yes, because they explain this.
I got like a Cub Scout leader slash Catholic priest kind of vibe to that.
Yeah. A little bit. There's a little bit of Canteen Boy going on there.
Canteen Boy. From SNL. Thank you. I hadn't thought of Canteen Boy.
Yeah,
played by Alec Baldwin, no less. But
yeah, or actually played by Adam Sandler, and Alec Baldwin was the head Cub Scout master who wanted to sleep in his sleeping bag with him.
Right. Oh, there's something going on in this relationship, I think, which explains so much.
Yeah.
Go on.
They talk about how they met when Noel was only 8 years old.
Yes.
He wandered into Victor's workshop while he was making his puppets and told Victor that he enjoyed watching. So Noel taught
him how to throw his voice. I mean, did he put something in his mouth to help him train? I don't know.
I suspect that there was some of that. Perhaps some chocolates as well.
Maybe.
But we find we realize.
And the sad thing is, Clown watched the whole thing and said nothing.
Yeah, Clown is Victor's evil clown dummy.
No, that's his dummy. That's his puppet. I don't know. Choice. What are we calling it?
His companion. I think they actually
life companion. Yeah, I don't know.
And but Clown has retired, and Victor doesn't use Clown anymore. So Clown just sits in his workshop
in a baby chair and an infant high chair. That's what he sits in. Again, creepy. This could be Saw. This is the opening to Saw. I'm pretty sure. I think we can go and establish that now.
So, oh God, so. I don't remember exactly how we get to this point, but Noel has some sort of breakdown in the basement while he's talking to Vic. Yeah. And there's I wrote down a line that Vic said.
Okay.
He's behind Vic. Vic's working on something at his workbench, and Noel says, "Look at me, Victor. Look at me." And Victor says, "If I look at you, I'm going to weep. I'm too old to weep." The fuck does that mean?
I don't know.
Somebody was trying to write some poetic dialogue?
Well, not only that, we've established that Victor has come to the realization that Noel has lost his mind because he's starting to talk about, Archie doesn't do as I say, and he goes, "What do you mean he's not working?" He goes, "No, he doesn't do what he's supposed to," and so you're starting to get hints as being sprinkled in that Noel's crazy as fuck, and Victor has now, I think, come to the conclusion. I think that's why he can't look at him, because now he's sad that his protege has gone bonkers. But if someone said that and they kept saying, "Look at me," kind of, I think I better get out of this room now and lock the door.
I don't want to be murdered, right? Yeah, exactly. But now Vic kind of just brushes him off, and so. Noel picks up a chisel and stabs Vic with it.
Multiple, which would, could you imagine? But I want to go back to the beginning of this scene, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Excuse me. I know you can't explain it, but I want you to try.
Okay.
Okay. So Victor hears the doorbell. Okay. He goes to the door, opens it up. Nobody's out there. Huh. That's weird. Closes the door, and there's Noel standing in the darkened corner. Creepy, by the way. Sitting in the corner. So somehow or another, he rang the doorbell. I guess he threw his voice. I'm not real sure. But he did that. He was able to... So he's been in that room. He was able to plant a rose on Clown.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to bring in Archie in a suitcase and place him on a workbench. Mm-hmm. Do you notice that? How did he just arrive?
Okay, so...
And had everything completely set up. Like, he had his props, he had his everything in the room already set, and Victor never saw this? I don't know.
I don't know. I do not know. Okay, I know. Okay, he must have rang the doorbell. You know, a lot of homes that have basements have doors that go into the basement. Like, I remember when we had one in Chicago, there was a back door, you know, onto our back porch, and then below the back door there were steps going to the basement. Mm-hmm. There was a basement door. And it's possible that he went in through the basement and then set all that stuff up within the 10 seconds it took for Vic to go to the door and come back. I don't know. I didn't even think about this. I didn't realize this until you mentioned it just now.
Creepy.
It's a mystery. It's creepy. You're right. Perhaps it was done to unsettle us.
There is an explanation which I will get to at the end when we review it. So I do have I have on my mind what really happened, but I just wanted to see if you could explain that to me. So yeah, he tells Victor he's not doing what he's being told to do. I wrote down a quote. He told me he hates me. Very scary. And then we learned from Victor that, you know, a lot of performers, ventriloquists, they kind of give up half their, not their lives, but kind of their personalities. One half goes to them, and the other half goes to the dummy to, you know, to be perfect. And that's what we find out later is Noel wants to be not only does he want to be perfect, he wants to be excellent.
Uh-huh.
Party time, Wayne. But yeah, no. So we find out that's one of his driving things. He wants to be the best, and maybe that's part of why he kills Victor. I don't understand why he kills Victor. It's not established why. Did you get a reason? I mean, why did he kill Victor? Because he refused to look at him. I mean, I don't think that's the reason.
Okay, he kills Victor because Archie tells him to kill Victor. That's all we know.
But we've established Archie, right, is a part of Noel's psyche. Yeah, and they talk about schizophrenia.
Exactly. Yeah, so Archie, or split personality, I don't really know what the difference is because I'm not a, you know, but yeah, he thinks that Archie is telling him to do things, and so he's doing them. And one of those things is to kill Victor. And one interesting thing, I find it kind of refreshing to have somebody who's just fucking nuts as a motive, but it's not very Columbo-ish, I should say. You know, it's not a rich person killing for money or something. Or
no, that's very true. We were talking about very kind of blue collar kind of
yeah. Not that Noel's blue collar. I mean, he makes a, you know, he's obviously a famous entertainer,
right?
But yeah, it's interesting to see a motive like that in Columbo. I mean,
Columbo. And honestly, and I'm not saying this to be funny. I know this whole time I've been kind of really goofy about this whole episode, but I really think it makes complete sense that Victor sexually abused Noel. It's got to be the explanation behind this.
I actually agree with that 100%, and I'm wondering if that was the intention of the writer, to imply this, because they could not talk about it.
Really, really dark, actually.
Yeah, that is extremely.
I've been joking about it. I'm going to hell.
It's a good point, and you know, it's extremely dark. I mean, Columbo isn't a very rosy show, but it's not exactly the Twilight Zone. But Mrs. Columbo, the tone is very light and frothy, and that's pretty dark for the light and frothy show.
It's a 45-minute episode, right? When you say,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So very short. So not as much time to kind of develop the characters as much as you would hope, but and if any episode of Mrs. Columbo, which I've not really seen. I've seen a part of one before this. I got bored with it, so I didn't finish it. But I would think this episode deserves character development. It just screams for it. Oh my god! I would like to have seen more of Noel and Archie. I would love to have seen more that dichotomy going back and forth between the two.
What about Aunt Lucy? Would you like to have seen more of her?
I had enough of Aunt Lucy. No. Maybe later after what do they call it after the surgery? Is it post-op?
Yeah, post-op.
Actually, like, she literally lost her leg. That would have been hilarious. Like, she went in for a ingrown toenail and she lost her leg. It went gangrene. Like, I'm sorry. I'm joking this off.
Yeah, there's going to be somebody who lost a leg, and they're going to write us angry emails, and that's fine.
Oh yeah. But there is mutilation in this episode, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you wait, you'll have that satisfied. While I thought it was interesting when Vic had his back turned to Noel, he was working on chiseling away a wooden head, and there was a lot of symbolism actually in this. I want to say it was intentional, but he's working on a head, and the whole time he's talking about performers giving themselves up, part of their personality going into one for the puppet and one for themselves. But he's working on a head as if talking about the mentality of a performer. I thought that was interesting. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but carving a head, making it. He was molding another head for another being, maybe quote unquote. I don't know. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. Huh.
Yes.
Wow. So,
sorry,
I'm starting to like this.
I blew
now,
your
Steve.
mind.
I think that there might be some artistic merit in this story.
I think there is. There's something else I will bring up.
Okay,
I'm making all sorts of promises this episode.
So, Vic is dead, and Mrs. Columbo, of course, or do we call her Kate? I don't know.
I put it in my notes as Kate. I refuse to call her Mrs. Columbo.
So you're just going to assume that it's somebody that has the same last name as the lieutenant.
I like the idea that they named the main character after the actress.
Okay, all right.
It's like Kate McGrew. We're going to offer you this part. Your name's going to be Shirley Columbo, and she's like, no, I'll take the part, but I don't want to have to learn much about my character. Just call the character Kate, and I'll know they're talking to me. So we got Kate Columbo. I don't
want to learn very much about my character.
I like Kate McGrew. I first became aware of her watching Star Trek Voyager back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I think.
Me too. I think she's cute as a button in this.
Oh yeah, she's adorable. She's smart as a whip. I imagine. Yeah, so that was my first experience with Kate McGrew. I like her. I don't dislike the actor, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, all right. And now she's on Orange Is the New Black. Have you seen any of that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she plays an older Russian lady.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
So she's at the crime scene along with all the other reporters, and
yes, she's a reporter, by the way.
Yeah,
ladies for. Okay, so she's a reporter to. I'm doing a lot of talking. You go. I'm sorry.
No, please. No, it's totally fine. Between solving mysteries and being in plays, and going to the vet, and getting dog as pills. You know what? I think she also does a lot of jogging and drinking wine on her porch while she's typewriting.
She was drinking wine at dinner. I mean, she probably drinks more than I do.
Oh wait, can I?
And Charlie probably takes Xanax with it as well.
No,
I mean, that's what she gave dog. That's what she gave dog was Xanax, and she's like, "I'm taking. You're not going to eat it. I don't care if it's covered in raw meat. Who gives their dog raw meat? I mean, honestly."
I think it was cooked.
No,
I don't think it was red enough to be raw because that entered my mind too.
Okay, so
does the dog really care if there's garlic salt and Worcestershire sauce in the food?
Dogs lick their butts. I mean, they honestly really care about the seasoning. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so she is a reporter. I think we can use that word very loosely here. A reporter for the Weekly Advertiser, which is a local paper.
Yeah,
I like that after the murder. We're on the crime scene. Police are on the scene. There's a police officer, and he's stopping people from coming in. But one is from the Times, and one's from the Associated Press. So I'm assuming they're talking about the Times and the Associated Press, the major newspapers.
Yeah.
But they let her in. And two, my next point is, why would the Times and the Associated Press be interested in a local murder?
Well, wait, maybe Vic was famous. We know that Noel was famous. Maybe Vic was famous too. But he didn't live in a big house. It looked like he was just living in a regular old house.
He had a maid. I mean...
That's right, he did have a maid. Yeah. And this isn't like 1930s, so yeah.
And I also... Okay, point 3. The police officer does not recognize Kate as the wife to the Lieutenant Columbo who is in homicide. No, yes. He does not recognize her. As a matter of fact, all the other police in this episode do not recognize Kate at all.
Yeah, he doesn't recognize her because of her husband, and also he doesn't tell her to get the hell out of the crime scene. What are you doing here?
Right, she's going through. She goes upstairs. She's rummaging through. Wait, why would Noel have torn the living room apart? I don't know because he took out drawers, threw papers on the ground, maybe just to make it look like it was a crime of passion.
A robbery.
I don't know.
But he doesn't touch anything downstairs, so that's a clue. All the expensive. I guess I don't know. I guess it is to make it look like a robbery, but. I don't know, because why would robbers be interested in a bunch of puppet stuff? I guess they wouldn't touch it downstairs. Anyway, but she comments on that. She says, well, it looks like they ransacked upstairs, but they left everything downstairs just fine. And of course, who's at the scene of the crime but the murderer, Noel Abbott.
He's just sitting around,
yeah.
Which makes him prime suspect, right there.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you here?
Does home. Noel not watch Columbo? I mean, does he not know he's lining himself up for the primary suspect?
So, yeah. So she and he start talking, and I don't remember exactly what they talk about. I know the maid comes in at one point, and she says something about, her boss wasn't really into pictures, because there's not a picture of him to go into her
No,
newspaper.
But plenty of pictures of young boys, though. I think
Oh, God. Oh, golly. Whew, it's getting hot in here. I think iTunes is on the phone with the lawyers. We've just been tagged, basically, by the FBI, ladies and gentlemen. This may be our last episode. Okay, there's a clue. You know, Steve, I love clues.
Oh, God. There's one clue in the whole stupid episode. And I hope you really enjoyed this clue. The one and only clue. I'm curious, what clue do you think it is? See if we both wrote down the same thing here.
It's the placement of the chisel with the other chisels. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So she's talking to Noel at the scene of the crime, and I don't remember exactly what they're talking about, but he picks up one of the chisels and puts it back in its place on the wall with the other chisels. Mm-hmm. And after that conversation, we see her looking pensive, as though she just saw something, incriminating. She saw the clue that we find out later on that she basically sees the clue that triggers her suspicion of Noel Abbott as being the murderer. And we know that later on, she's doodling at home, and she's drawing like these circles as if they were the things on the wall and putting pens on them.
Yeah, I really felt that they were driving at home what the clue was. Like, did you see the clue? 2 minutes later. Did you see the clue? Because here's the clue. This is what she saw the clue. And then, like, a few minutes later, this is the clue. Did you see the same clue that we just mentioned it earlier? I mean,
but I couldn't figure out.
What?
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Oh no! From the very beginning, when she looks at the tool board or whatever you call it, the hanging where the tools are, I picked up that there's something there on the tool that he did something, and something was different that gave him away. But they kept letting us know that's the clue. That's the clue. Did you see the clue? And I felt like they did it 2 or 3 more times. The reference that particular scene, and there was no other clue. But that was the one singular clue that if you didn't see it, they let you know a couple of times how important that was.
Yeah. And I was racking my brain. I'm like, I can't figure out what the fuck the clue is. And if you don't mind, I'm going to explain what the clue is because she doesn't reveal it to the end.
Yeah,
the clue is that only the murderer could have known that chisel would go there on the wall with the other fucking chisels. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. Okay.
Well, and I thought the clue was this. The chisel that Noel used to kill Victor, he placed it back. Kind of like an OCD thing. Like, why would the murderer place the tool back? And so when Kate is talking to him 5 minutes later in this episode, he sees that Noel notices one of the tools is down, and he's instinctively putting it back where it belongs. So after killing somebody, the murderer put the chisel back where it belonged.
The murder weapon, though, was carried away from the scene of the crime. They bagged it and they bagged it,
but when Sergeant what's his name saw it, he's the one that put it in the bag, but it was hanging on the board. So the killer did this horrible murder, and then put the murder weapon back where it belongs. Why would someone do that? And so obviously Noel has the thoughts of putting tools back where they belong.
That doesn't make any sense.
What I
think it was that he left. This is what I think they were trying to do, but I'm not sure. I'm watching it right now. I'm with the sound off, and I think it was that he left one of the I don't know what you would call it, the spaces where the chisels go. He left one of them empty, and that was where the murder weapon was. But how did he know that?
Right, he would. Yeah.
Think
and it was a special. But that chisel went to a special spot. Why didn't he? Okay, so if listeners, if you can imagine this, you've got eight chisels on a board. You've got from left to right. The murder weapon was the center, one of the most center chisels. And so when Noel, he's got all the chisels up except for one or two, the middle one being the murder weapon, which has been taken away from the police, which was hung back up where it belonged. But Noel, he saw one on the workbench, and he placed it. He didn't place it back in what's the word I'm looking for? Sequential order, which would have been the middle one. He put it like a little farther down. Now, if it was somebody who didn't know any better, they would have stuck it as the next one in line.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
exactly it.
Okay.
That's what the clue was.
I was able to explain that.
And she automatically jumps to the conclusion that means that he took that chisel and murdered Vic with it.
Yeah.
Even though everybody was all over the crime scene already, and he could have seen that the murder weapon. I don't know. So he returns.
Go ahead.
He returns to his car. Oh wait, yeah, that's right. The maid says that Vic really wants you to have Clown, the doll. Now that it's done haunting Vic's life, let's give it to you. And so he's like, well, that's very nice. And so after he and Mrs. Columbo Kate talk, he goes back out to his car, his fancy convertible, and there, sitting in the passenger seat, is Clown.
And made his way to the car.
Yeah, and we crap our pants for a moment until we realize that Kate is the one that put Clown there. And she's like, well, why don't you want to take the doll with you? And he says, well, that belongs to Vic.
I brought him out for you. Not that I brought him with me out to you. I placed him in the car, left,
yeah,
came back out. I mean, yeah, sure.
And he says, well, Mrs. Columbo, do you have any children? Yeah, I have one daughter. Why don't you bring the Clown home to her?
Why did she place Clown? Okay, yes, he's a human version of a doll, and so maybe you sit him up as if, like, why wouldn't you just place him in the car? Why do you have to seat him up and buckle him in, like,
and then go back inside and not,
because that's not creepy. That's not creepy.
By the way, I put that creepy Clown doll in your car.
That fuel of nightmares back in your car.
But that's not.
That watched your deflowering.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and flowers. There's flowers. He's got a flower on his lapel, by the way, that has gold foil around the base of it. I think we should mention that. And I think he puts.
Did forget you did bypass something. Another very important thing that is revealed in this episode. Even though, and Columbo says he does not have any kids. He does. He has a daughter. Named Jenny. We find out about Jenny in this episode.
So
I got problems with this.
Okay, we'll get there in a second. We'll get there in a second. Because
how? Okay.
I have a theory about Jenny and the character or the actress Jenny and all that. But let me just say,
okay.
After the scene where Noel gives the creepy clown doll to Kate and drives off, we cut to an interior of Noel's apartment right before he walks in the door.
Oh, yes.
And as if the image of clown in the car was not creepy enough, we see that Archie, Noel's doll, is resting
hungover
on the couch.
He's hungover. I mean,
he's hungover. Yeah, he's.
He did some Quaaludes at a party last night. He's just hungover. His arm is over the couch. I mean, he looks like he's had a night.
Yeah.
He's had a better night than Noel, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely a better night than Vic. So Noel, actually Archie tells Noel that, Noel thinks nobody saw the murder, but Archie says no, clown saw the murder.
Dead man tell no tales. I'm like, oh Jesus.
So Noel realizes that he's got to go back and
take care of clown.
Get clown back from because clown is going to tell Mrs. Columbo.
If you learned anything from Columbo, if you help the killer, and you're the only witness, you're going to die. That is carried over into this episode. Clown saw the murderer. He's next. Clown better run.
Run after. So next we know Noel shows up at Mrs. Columbo's house. Okay. Mm-hmm. Much to her immediate distress.
I would be really worried that the paper gave her address out so easily.
Yeah, I know. Like, what the fuck? Do you guys want me to die? Like, you gave it to the creepy ventriloquist guy?
Like, Columbo is even smart enough not to give out his home address. Like in that one episode where they uses his nephew's or his aunt's home.
It was the other policeman that they used his home.
Yeah. But there was another one where we see his wife's sister's photo on the mantle.
Oh, yeah, same
one. It was one of the later ones. It was the death of Mrs. Columbo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. It's all coming together. Oh, my God.
So, this is when we meet
Was
Jenny.
Kate McGrew in that photo?
No, it was some other lady. It looked more like Aunt Lucy than Kate.
Oh. Okay. And this episode came out before that. So
yes, this came out in 1979. Years.
Where were we? I'm sorry, I'm getting totally distracted. Okay, so we're talking about Clown. I'm sorry. What were we talking about, Clown?
We're talking about Jenny now, because Noel shows up at their house, and Jenny's there with Clown.
And Clown won't speak. He's broken.
And they're having a good old time, and he says that he wants to take Clown back.
Right, because Clown has been mutilated. He's been mutilated as a doll. Oh my God.
Yeah. Would you really want to give that doll to a kid that you've never even met or know anything about?
Would you accept that doll? Would you, if some strange man say, this is a gift, I'm like, no, thank you. Or if you did it being a kid, because you want to be polite and nice to your elders, which, our time period, that's what we would have done. I would have taken it, and then I would have put it into a cardboard box and buried it in the backyard.
Well, that's what ends up happening to it, of course.
Yeah, eventually. Yes, that's true.
But
I would not. I mean, it looked creepy. I mean, it was automatically a creepy looking thing. Why would Ginny, Kate and Frank's daughter, I assume his name is Frank, why would you want that?
I don't know.
It's not like a Barbie doll. It's not like the newest My Little Pony. She-Ra.
She loves it. She loves it. I just don't. Is this like a, in 1979, were these types of clowns adorable, or was this just, did nobody know that clowns were terrifying? Did this just catch on later on? I don't know. I don't get it. But I do want to say that the young actress who plays Jenny will not be winning any Emmy Awards. That's for sure. She was so annoying.
Oh.
And
she wasn't that bad.
Really? Oh.
Didn't bother me. No. I mean, it was a kid actor. I mean, what do you expect?
Well, you know what? I really don't know, but I hope that one of the other 2 episodes that we will review of this in the future is the one where they put on a little play, the little vaudeville play.
Well, there is we see that at the intro.
So Noel takes Clown back,
and then as a trade-off, he promises Jenny a party for her friends.
Yeah, a party filled with nightmares.
Yes,
and Archie. They have creepy clown hats, creepy little clown cups. They have Archie there doing
probably
jokes.
Very similar to the kind of birthday parties you and I would have had as a kid.
I guess, yeah. I guess. And Archie does that usual thing where he starts talking back to Noel, and none of the children could sleep that night. Now,
right
after they do the shtick with Archie, they go to the kitchen, and they're going to have.
You forgot the thing that broke the transition from that scene to the kitchen scene was Archie telling Noel, "Dead man tell no tales." Like what the fuck? And to me, on our normal Columbo podcast, we like to discuss when did Columbo know? So, in my mind, when did Kate know? I think this was the scene. Seeing Archie all of a sudden saying, "Dead man tell no tales." I think, God, that's very Pennywise. I think that's what that clued her in. There is something going on.
Yeah.
I think that's when she first suspects that Noel is the killer.
Yeah.
Like, he's gone fucking bonkers.
So she invites him for cake and ice cream in with all the kids, because that's what you do with murderers. Okay.
Oh, sure.
So, there is a scene, though, right then, where they're eating in the kitchen, and all the kids are there. Mrs. Columbo leaves the room for a moment, and he pretends that his stomach is talking, but the kids are
No, it's a fly. There's a fly in the room. He swallows the fly, and the fly's in his tummy. Now the fly wants some cake and ice cream.
Oh, okay, because for a little while there, he looked like he was making his dick talk.
Well, that. It was either the fly or the
because the kids are crowded all around him. He's looking down, and he's like pointing and making noise. I'm like, Mrs. Columbo has just left the room. Now it's time for him to molest children, just like he was when he was a little boy. No. So, and then
the
Kate
circle
walks
is complete.
Yeah, Kate walks into the bedroom and finds out that little Jenny is playing with Archie, and she yells at her, and then kicks her out of the room. And then Noel walks in, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing with Archie?"
Did he say anything?
Oh, that's right. That's right. Did he say anything?
Did he say anything? What? What do you mean exactly, Noel? What are you talking about? Did he say anything? That's I think it confirms her suspicion even more. This guy is bonkers, and there's a very good chance he killed Victor.
Yeah. So there's no real clues here. It's just common fucking sense and like looking at what people do. There's no clues to piece together.
No. And there's no real reason why like in Columbo we see why Columbo suspects somebody. Why things are lining up. I mean, literally, it's just one thing, and yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
keep saying
I understand. I know what you're saying. It's just There's a bunch of other stuff that happens. I don't really remember what happened. I know the policeman, the cop, Mr. Cohen, comes over for dinner.
Yes, Sergeant Kaplan.
Sergeant Kaplan.
So Kate, at this point after the party, she's like, I've got to speak to the police. Not that she's married to the lieutenant in homicide. No. So she goes and finds Sergeant Kaplan at the local bar. I mean, where else? All right, so he's playing pool. And
That's right.
And does he recognize? Oh, you're Lieutenant Columbo's wife. Oh, yeah. I remember we met at the Christmas party last year. No. There's none of that. There is, you with who? What? Who are you? And she says, I think you should speak to him again. When she says him, she's, of course, referring to Noel. But he goes, who? Your husband? She goes, no.
No. And he won't do it. And then, very professional, she says, well, how about this? I'll make you a bet. If I can sink that yellow ball, will you talk to him?
Okay, this is the most sexually tense scene in this episode. I think this... There is... They played this off like she was going to suck his cock. Basically she said, if I sink the ball... Okay, let's rewind for the listeners because they may not know this episode. So, Kate and Sergeant Kaplan meet at a bar. She's trying to convince Kaplan to re-question Noel because she thinks he's the murderer. And and the sergeant's saying, no, he checked out for me. I don't think he's the case. And what would I say? I'd have to get a warrant. And I would get a warrant because you thought that the dummy gave you a clue, or the dummy told you, or something like that. He said, I'm not doing that. That'll be a career ender for me. Mm-hmm. And so she negotiates. She goes, okay, I'll sink this ball because they're playing pool, and she's doing horrible at this point. If I sink this next ball, which is a really hard shot, by the way, you will go and get that warrant. And then the sergeant says, if I win, what do I get? And this is... And to me, the way it plays out, now the way I described it can be viewed innocently, but he goes, so yeah, what would I get if I sink the ball? She goes, I'll bake you a cake. I'm not sure, like that seems sexual to me. Like, yeah, I will make you something. I will cook something up in the bedroom for you tonight.
I will let you have my roast beef cake.
Yeah. Did you get that vibe? Did you?
I did not, but now when you're talking about it makes perfect sense. And then before you know it, he's at her house, the policeman, Kaplan, that is.
Yeah,
and she invites him to dinner, and she sits down, and they're having stuffed peppers. And what better thing to drink with stuffed peppers?
I haven't had those since literally the 1970s.
I know! Me too!
Next time I visit, we're making stuffed peppers.
Okay, all right, it's a plan. But I am not going to serve Riesling with the stuffed peppers. Okay.
What's that?
Riesling wine, wine, because I can tell by the shape of the wine bottle and by the fact that the wine was white that was Riesling, which is basically a sweet white wine. That does not go with peppers. That you have to have a red wine with food like that. It's like Italian food. I'm glad to see she's Italian. She's cooking Italian food, by the way.
My mom used to make stuffed peppers. Those were so good.
Yeah, it sounds really good right now. Kind of want it.
And when when Sergeant Kaplan eats it, he goes, this is moist. Like, what are you talking about, buddy? I mean, are you coming to collect? I mean, what's going on? I just don't.
Oh, we forgot to add the part about she's trying to get Dog to swallow his pill.
Yes, I'm happy to see Dog. I am legitimately happy to see. If I'm going to enjoy this episode, that's the one thing I enjoyed. I got to see Dog.
And so she tries putting the pill in some meat, puts some garlic salt in it and some Worcestershire sauce because, dogs love that. And then the dog eats all the food but leaves the pill behind.
Eats around the pill, yeah.
And then at the end of the scene, after she's talking to Kaplan at the dinner table, she says, oh, and he's like, what's the matter? She goes, I think I just swallowed the dog's pill.
I think that was not it wasn't to be taken literally. I think that is that Noel had tricked her. Basically, he tried to wrap around his story around the actual murder, and so but instead of being smart, she swallowed Noel's whole story and believing it.
Oh, I was taking it literally, like she accidentally swallowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was
I see what you mean. Okay, she was doing a metaphor, like she tried to trick the dog and take. Okay. She ate the food and swallowed it. Okay, I understand.
She swallowed the pill and whole, not being smart about it. Yeah.
Man, what did you think of Noel's apartment, by the way?
I loved it. It was very 70s, kind of swanky. Kind of cool. I liked it.
Potted plants, a hi-fi stereo system. It looked actually like a sex pad, and there is no shortage of sex pads in Columbo.
Well, and the only person getting sex in that is going to be Archie. I mean, obviously, when we saw that one scene, it's just...
So, I can't remember what happens next. Please. At this point, I really was thinking, like, okay, how much longer is this going to go on? I didn't realize that this was only like a 1-hour TV show. So, on the disc, it's 45 minutes of Mrs. Columbo action. Mm-hmm. I thought this was going to go on like a regular hour and a half or hour and 10 minutes. And I'm like, this is taking so long. And so she...
you thought it was going too long. Interesting.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Oh, it was slow as fuck. There was... Yeah. God. So she... goes
to the cemetery. She follows... Noel to the cemetery where he's saying his last goodbyes to Victor, and apparently buries a clown doll. How do you do that? If I wanted to go to a local cemetery and start digging a hole, I think someone would like call the cops or...
Yeah, sir, you can't do this. Well, this is my grandfather's grave. No, sir, it's illegal. You cannot do it.
Yeah,
so he buries clown. Buries clown because he thinks that clown did witness the murder, Steve. He did witness the murder. Mm-hmm. And he leaves behind a clue. He leaves behind rose petals and a little bit of gold foil.
Well, yeah, why was that a clue? Because I missed that. Why?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no freaking idea. I think it was because he had a rose on his lapel on the day of the murder when he met Mrs. Columbo.
Uh-huh.
And it was the same type of rose. It also had the same type of gold foil on it. And that comes from a florist, where she bought those roses for Aunt Lucy. Okay?
I've never seen gold foil on flowers before.
Neither have I. It must have been a 1979 thing. So she comes to the conclusion that the clown was that we're calling it the clown. It's actually just clown.
That's his name.
I have to get that right. She comes to the conclusion that Noel was the one who buried clown next to Vic.
Right.
Which to me sounds like a very sentimental thing to do. But the reason that Vic did it is because he thinks that clown is going to tell everybody that he killed Vic. Okay.
Yes.
So then the showdown, I think, at last.
Yes, where I have a problem with this scene.
Okay, go ahead with it. Tell us all about
it. I can't remember exactly why Noel and Archie. Oh no, he's going to cut Archie's not his strings, but the mechanism that makes his mouth move, so he can't talk anymore because Archie is basically saying, I'm going to talk, or I don't know. So he, instead of going to the local Home Depot and buying a pair of pliers, he decides he's got to go back to Victor's workshop and use a pair of pliers.
That's right. Yes, I was wondering. Okay, he tries smashing Archie against the wall, by the way, but it doesn't work.
Right. Yeah. Poor Archie gets it in the face. So, anyways, he sits Archie into the little children's high chair seat that we saw earlier at the beginning of the episode with the clown. So he's got these little snippets. He's going to mutilate this poor Archie doll, who at first he's creepy as hell. Now we start to feel sorry for him. Interesting. As he's getting ready to do the final cut his cords, so to speak, Kate walks down to the workshop with clown. And I think Kate has lost it at this point because she starts. She talks about how beautiful Archie is, and I guess she's trying to get Noel to relate to her. I'm not real sure. But yeah, so she is now the voice of Clown. Did you notice that? Like she's gone full bonkers here. So she's voicing Clown for Weird.
Yeah. And then
and when she's talking, when she's talking to she's not talking to Noel. She's talking to Clown, and she's talking to Archie. And she's, Archie, what happened to your face? And Archie, what did Noel tell you? And like as if Noel wasn't even there. She's having this dialogue with the puppet,
which is either insane or smart, because she's basically trying to get, she does what she attempts to do is she accomplishes, which is basically she gets Noel to confess to the murder by Archie telling her, Noel killed Vic. Mm-hmm. And then Noel realizes that the game is up, and he says, I just wanted to be perfect. And then she says, well, you were perfect. Roll credits.
I'll make you a cake.
We forgot to mention one thing. Did you notice the guest appearance of Dabney Coleman in this?
No.
I'm being kind of facetious. Okay. In the scene in the cemetery where she, spies on Noel,
the gardener,
at Vic's grave, there's a gardener in a little tractor or a lawnmower.
Yeah, has a mustache. Has a big old mustache. Yeah,
and the same hat and the same blue outfit. I think he just murdered his wife.
I thought it was Fernando from the guy Campbell. It's actually his ghost gardening in heaven.
So that was, we've actually talked about this for like 20 minutes longer than the actual episode is.
I told you this would be one of our most the one that's gone the longest, because whenever we mutually hate something, we talk about it a lot longer than if we mutually like it. It's weird.
Like our Grand Deceptions episode.
Mm-hmm.
I went...
Yeah.
Go ahead. What's the number going to be?
Oh, do you want to review? I do have some questions for you. I don't know if I want to do this before or after the review.
Okay,
let's do it now. Yeah. Okay. So my question to you: do the fans in general? I know how I feel, but you're more closely connected to the Columbo fans because you've been a fan of the show since the 70s or 80s, early 80s. So you're more in tune with what's going on Reddit and. Like the TV show, like you're the one that told me about Frank Ruffalo wanted to make a remake, whatever. So what are the fans' thoughts on the Mrs. Columbo? Is this what's the word I'm looking for?
Canon?
Is this canon? Canon, yeah. Is this canon?
No. I'm not gonna. Okay, if I may, I'm thinking of a really good parallel here to Doctor Who. The only thing that jumps to mind is maybe, no, it's a really good, Doctor Who, so, I don't know if you noticed, Steve, but it's really not that good of a show. I mean, it was made after, this came out in 1979, there's stuff from Columbo before this that actually has a better production value than this, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's obviously, written better and all this. The fans tend to forget it. In fact, this show itself changed its name from Mrs. Columbo to just Kate to Kate Loves a Mystery. Like, I think that it wanted to distance itself from Columbo as much as possible after a while. Or perhaps the Columbo wanted it to distance it from... Because the producers, I noticed, are the same. Richard Levinson worked on this, and he's one of the Columbo creators. But, it's not very accessible. It's, only these 3 episodes are available on DVD, and they're extras on the Columbo box set. It is available on DVD overseas for some bizarre reason. And I don't think people that watch it really like it. I do remember in the 90s when they were airing new Columbos, they would show, I explained this before, they showed Prescription Murder and Ransom for a Dead Man, which are the first two. That those had not been on TV for years, and that was the first time I saw them. It was really cool and exciting. And I remember they showed a couple Mrs. Columbo episodes. And one of them had Robert Culp, and one of them had Donald Pleasance. And I think the only reason they showed those two was because obviously those are two Columbo murderers in episodes that are pretty well regarded. In fact, I think the pilot had Robert Culp in it as a killer, if memory serves. Okay.
Right.
This is not well regarded. I don't think they consider it canon. First of all, they have a kid. It's just considered garbage.
Okay. How many seasons did they have of this?
I want to say 3 or 4.
Wow,
I don't know
that
for
many.
Sure.
I'm surprised it made more than one, to be quite honest.
Oh, no, they did more than one. Let's see. It was done for... No, forgive me. It looks like there were maybe only 2 seasons.
Okay.
And there were a total of 13 episodes.
Wow.
So this one, A Riddle for Puppets, was the 3rd episode of the first season. Murder is a Parlor Game and Caviar with Everything were it was in between those two, and those are the other 2 that are available on the DVD. Wow. I'm just looking at the titles. Ladies of the Afternoon, Off the Record, A Chilling Surprise. So, yeah. Not a popular show at all. Didn't last long.
So the only way to view this, I'm just curious, is overseas. They have... So if I wanted to watch this, I would have to, order...
If you had a region-free DVD player, you could buy the set of Madame Columbo, which I think is now out of print, so you'd probably be paying a high price for it.
There's one scene we kind of glossed over, and I really felt it was unnecessary. She went into the office, to the newspaper, and she met I guess the head editor. I'm not real sure who he was, but it was a guy named Josh Alden. Is that right?
I don't remember his name. I know the actor's name is Henry Jones.
Right. So that's his boss, and that kind of gives her the she's bouncing ideas off him. She's not necessarily purposely bouncing ideas. Just he says something that kind of makes her jump to the next conclusion. I didn't like that. I think that Kate is an intelligent person. I think that's established. She doesn't need it sounds so like I'm being a social justice warrior here, but I feel like that was a crutch that they needed a man to kind of tell her where to go next, and that really bothered me. I did not think that was necessary. She was smart enough to figure it out on her own, and so I felt like that scene was almost like he was a mentor or somebody to kind of lead her to the right, or lead her in the right direction.
What did he tell her to do? I can't remember.
What did he say? It was so...
Was it he told her specific advice that she followed, or did he just say something offhand that gave her a clue?
No, it was something offhand that gave her okay. Oh, okay, I haven't thought about it. It was so uninteresting. I besides the fact that the scene took place, I can't tell you what the conversation was. But I did not think it was necessary, to be quite honest.
He appears in every episode, I think, because he's in the opening credits. Did you notice
probably
that?
For that very reason. Probably for her to because he was in the opening title. I think he's there just to kind of, hey, a man helped her along to steer her to where to go. That was my impression. I don't know if that's the case, because this is my only episode I've ever watched all the way through, so maybe I'm wrong, but I did not... I didn't like that scene at all. I thought it was pointless.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Another same old summer? Not when the biggest day around is bigger than ever. Look, Valley Fair's offering another special attraction.
This Memorial Day weekend, see our special guest, Jay Johnson, the talented ventriloquist from the TV series Soap. 3 big shows each day, sponsored by Pepsi-Cola.
A day at Valley Fair was always lots to do, but now we've added a new twist or two. The new corkscrew, plus another special attraction.
So let's go ahead and review it. Let's review this thing. And I'm going to let you go first because I think I went first last time. And I think you know where I'm going with this one. With a number. Because you said it like twice.
53.
52, yes. So, and that's the age of Victor when he...
Oh, I thought he was 53. Okay, that's fine.
I have 52. Oh, whatever. So 52. What would you rate Victor's day of death? Age of death. 52 out of 0.
Well, I'm not going to say 0. I mean, really, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't, like, unwatchable. But if this is a Columbo episode, it would probably be the worst Columbo episode ever made.
Huh.
An 11. I'm going to give it an 11. There's not a lot here. I mean, the only reason to watch it is so that you can watch to see what Mrs. Columbo is. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go a little higher than that. I'll give it a 21. I'll add a little bit more onto it.
Doubled. Wow.
I'm. You know what? I actually agree with you. You said that you wish there was more interplay between Archie and Noel. I actually agree with that. But what I thought was very interesting was more about the relationship between Noel and Victor, because I'm dead serious when I say this, and I think you probably agree, that there was a history of abuse between the two of them. I really think that was also probably the motive for the crime. But for totally understandable reasons, they couldn't go into that in 1979 on TV. So, yeah, and I didn't like the clues, because I love clues, but not bad
There's
clues.
only one clue. It's only one.
Yeah.
Really.
2, if you count the fact that she found gold foil and rose petals at Clown's quote-unquote gravesite.
Yeah.
But those are weak clues. Those are stupid clues. So
It kind of hangs its hat on one major, and that's the that one major one.
the one with the chisels in the wall. And,
exactly.
And that to me seems just kind of tenuous. Like,
well, they throw it in your face. Like I said, the show purposely throws it in your face to remind you that, hey, did you see that? No. 10 minutes later, hey, did you notice this? I don't know.
And something like that is much more effective if they don't throw it in your face. If it's explained later on, and you're like, "Oh, well, that's clever. I didn't notice."
Yeah,
that.
let the viewer come to that conclusion on their own. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Which Columbo would do. I can't think of any specific examples, but that's how I always felt about it. So.
Yeah.
All right, so you gave it a 21, huh?
Yeah, I think maybe a lot of people would think that that's being generous, but I'll give it a 21.
So I have a hard time scoring this because I haven't seen any really other Mrs. Columbos. So how does it rate compared to the other series? Yeah, so I kind of have to rate it against a Columbo, which is going to be low.
God, desperately low.
I mean, this could very well be the best Mrs. Columbo episode ever. I don't know.
It is not. It is not. I swear to God, it is not.
It's not. I tell you what I liked. I like the idea of the dummy. The schizophrenia of Noel and Archie. I really enjoyed that. I think I enjoyed the episode more when in my mind, my twisted mind, that Archie and Clown operated on their own. Like, that just makes the show so much more exciting. If I actually mix a little bit of the Twilight Zone into this, it's way more enjoyable. As a matter of fact, after watching this, I jumped on Netflix, pulled up Twilight Zone and watched the episode The Dummy. That it's like season, I think it was in the third season. Mm-hmm. It stars Cliff Robertson. He's a stage performer who has a dummy, and of course the dummy is telling him what to do. He's telling him he's a loser, whatever. And the dummy in that is actually really alive, but no one believes him. Also, interesting enough, Frank Sutton is in that. I don't know if you know who that is.
That name sounds familiar.
One of my favorite TV actors from the 60s and 70s. He was the sergeant in Gomer Pyle.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever watched that. But anyways,
I never watched that show.
Oh wow. So anyways, in that particular one, if you kind of mix the Twilight Zone with this, I enjoyed it. Maybe they should have gone with more of a paranormal feel for Mrs. Columbo. I don't know. I liked seeing Dog. I always love seeing Dog. What I didn't like was seeing that there was a daughter, Jenny. I didn't want to see Aunt Lucy. I thought the villain who played Noel, you said his name earlier, I forgot already.
Jay Johnson.
I thought he was great, very creepy. He did a very good job of portraying someone who's screwed up.
I can't argue with that. I didn't think about his portrayal, but you're absolutely right. He's the best thing in this.
Yeah, no, he did a great job.
Is.
But I just wish there was more with him. Like you said earlier, if there was more between him and the doll Archie. I just felt like he could have added so much more, especially with his background with ventriloquism. I think there could have been so much more, but they had like a limited time, 45 minutes, not much really to kind of explore it, unfortunately. Kate McGrew, I thought she did an okay job. I think it would have been better if it wasn't Mrs. Columbo. I think if she did her own series, independent of the Columbo name, I think it would have been better.
Like a Murder, She Wrote type thing, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's a detriment that they're throwing Mrs. Columbo on this. And not only that, you never see anything about Peter Falk. Did Peter Falk never kind of give this his backing? I'm just curious.
I have no idea what Peter Falk thought about this, but he probably avoided it like the plague.
Smart.
Yeah.
What else? So I guess with it was enjoyable, but if I compare it to other Columbos, yeah, I'm gonna have to. This is hard. It's really hard to review this because when it's right, but when it's wrong, it's wrong. You gave it a 21. I guess I have to kind of concede to what you have as a score. I'm gonna say 20.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. I know you said it dragged for you. For me, it went by quickly. I had a good time, but I would never want to see it again. Like, I'm glad I saw it the one time, but I have no intention of ever watching this again. And it did make me hungry for stuffed bell peppers. So
yeah, oh yeah, that sounds really.
Oh, and the other thing I had a problem with, I guess with Kate Columbo, not the actress but the character, the whole sexual tension between her and the sergeant. That really. No, I know it sounds. I'm very serious. Like, that really bothered me. Like, does Frank or does Lieutenant Columbo know you're kind of whoring yourself out? If I don't sink this ball, I'm going to make you a cake. Oh, come on, honestly.
A moist cake.
A moist cake. Yeah. That really bothered me. I don't want to know that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that was. I don't think she really would have slept with him, but there was I agree. There was just, it was a little bit too cutesy, a little too wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Mister whatever his name is.
So Jenny's probably not even Lieutenant Columbo's daughter, and that was.
Yeah, in fact, maybe all of this took place before the Columbo stories began. or maybe it took place in between, like, prescription murder.
I like that idea.
And you know, she divorced him, or, you know, and I don't know.
Now, my theory of Mr. Columbo being dead, maybe he actually got divorced. Okay, that. But why would she have dog? Maybe dog comes with Ginny every other weekend. So
maybe dog is one of two dogs. But why is his car parked at his house? Why are we talking about this?
You picked it. Are you kidding me?
No, the swinging wheel of the 70s picked it.
Of Columbo.
The swinging wheel of the 70s picked it. Okay. All right. Speaking of which, you get a second shot at the swinging wheel of the 70s.
I better.
So
I
even
like
though
the
this
70s.
is technically a 70s episode, you are going to spin the wheel again and see what we're going to be talking about.
This better be good.
Okay.
I swear to God, if it's another Mr. Columbo, I'm coming to hunt you.
Okay, we are going to be watching from Season 1, Blueprint for Murder, starring Patrick O'Neill as an architect who murders. He murders
Blueprint
Forrest
murder.
Tucker, who's a Texan and who has a very large penis.
Okay. According to what?
According to mythology, according to the Gilbert Gottfried podcast.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's what's up for next week, folks. So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening, and if you've listened all the way through and not just turned this off about 30 seconds in because it's about Mrs. Columbo, thank you for listening all the way through. We're going to talk about Real Columbo next week with Blueprint for Murder. Good night!
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the Columbo Confab podcast. To email us with a comment or question, write to columboconfab@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @columboconfab, and look for us on Facebook. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us some happy reviews on iTunes.
I love clues.
Hello, I'm Sean, and I'm the host of the 1001 Movies podcast, based on the book 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. Each episode, I randomly pick a film from the book and spend about 10 minutes talking about its director, the cast, the genre, and my personal thoughts on the merits of the film. Each delicious yet bite-sized episode contains information about a film from practically any genre, any country, or any year. Check us out on iTunes, and we'll send you free cookies. Some restrictions apply.